Welcome. Today we are going to crack the code on one of the most useful parts of English grammar, reported speech. You know, it's how we share stories, pass on messages, basically how we talk about anything that anyone has ever said. So, let's just start with a really simple mission. Imagine your friend says this to you. In that moment, the words are crystal clear. But what happens a week later? How do you tell someone else what they promised? I mean, the time has changed, the place might have changed, and you're a totally different speaker. That's the puzzle we're going to solve today.
Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the absolute basics, then get into the 3 crucial changes you always need to make. After that, we'll tackle some advanced stuff like questions and commands, upgrade our vocabulary a bit, and then, you guessed it, put it all together.
First things first, let's get our tools straight. When you want to talk about what someone else said, you've really got 2 main options in your toolkit.
So tool number 1 is what we call direct speech. Think of this like hitting the record button. You use the person's exact words, word for word, and you just wrap them in quotation marks. Super simple, right? It's direct and very precise.
And this slide right here shows the contrast perfectly. On the left, you've got the direct quote. On the right, that's our second tool, indirect, or what we call reported speech. Here, we're not quoting, we're reporting the meaning. And notice the quotation marks are gone and a few little words have changed. So, to put it a little more formally, direct speech is basically a perfect copy. It's a quote. You see this all the time in books and in the news, especially when they want to show exactly what was said. Now, indirect speech, on the other hand, is way more common in our everyday conversations. It's really all about just getting the message across. You're kind of summarizing or paraphrasing what you heard, and you're making it fit into the flow of your own sentence. So, here's the million-dollar question. How do we get from direct speech to indirect speech smoothly and, correctly? Well, it's not magic, it's a system. And there are 3 keys to cracking this code.
The first and maybe the most important key is something called backshift. The best way to think of it is like grammatical time travel. Because you're usually reporting something that was said in the past, the verb tense often needs to take one step back into the past too.
And this table just illustrates that time travel perfectly. A simple present like I am tired becomes past simple. She said she was tired. A present continuous like he is working becomes past continuous. They said he was working. And get this, even a past tense can go further back. If someone says, I saw them, you report it as he said he had seen them. You use the past perfect to show it happened before he even spoke. Pretty cool, huh? Now, this same rule applies to our helping verbs, the modals. The logic is exactly the same. A promise with will becomes a reported promise with would. Someone's ability with can becomes a reported ability with could. It's all about that one step back in time. Oh, and a quick pro tip. If the original statement is a timeless fact, like the earth is round, you often don't need to backshift. Okay, let's move on to our second key. This one is all about perspective. It makes sense, right? When the original speaker says I, they're talking about themselves. But when you report it, you have to change that pronoun to show who they are from your point of view.
And here you can see it in action. Mark's I becomes he when we report it. Or if John says to you, you are my friend, you'd report that as John said I was his friend. The pronouns just have to make sense from the new speaker's perspective. And you'll notice that third-person pronouns like she or he, they usually just stay the same.
All right, our final key is all about context. I like to think of it as updating the GPS coordinates for your sentence. Words that are tied to the specific time and place of the original statement, well, they often need to be updated when you report them later, and maybe from a different place. So, think about it. A promise made last week to do something tomorrow can't be reported as tomorrow today, can it? It becomes the next day. A plan to meet here becomes a plan to meet there. And if I hold up a book and say, this book, later you'd refer to it as that book. You've just got to update the context.
Excellent. We have totally cracked the basic code for statements. So now, let's level up and look at some advanced operations. This is for reporting more complex things, like when someone asks a question or gives you a command.
So, how do you report a question? This can be a little tricky because a reported question isn't actually a question anymore.
You have to transform it from that question form into a regular old statement.
For a simple yes or no question, this four-step process is totally foolproof. You use a verb like asked, you introduce the clause with if or whether, and then, and this is the crucial part, you flip the word order back to a normal statement format before you backshift the tense.
So, if we follow those steps, "Are you listening?" becomes "She asked if I was listening." See that? The question part, "Are you?" has become the statement, "I was." No question mark needed.
Okay, but what about questions that aren't yes or no? You know, the ones that start with words like where, what, when, or why?
Well, for these, the process is actually even simpler. The question word itself, like where in this case, it becomes the connector. You just follow it with a statement, not another question. So, where do they live becomes he wanted to know where they lived. Again, just notice that statement word order and, of course, that all-important backshifted tense.
And now for our last advanced operation, reporting commands, or orders, or even requests. This is actually pretty straightforward.
The structure here is wonderfully consistent. You use a reporting verb like told, ordered, or warned, you name the person who was spoken to, and then you just use the infinitive form of the verb, the to form. So stop smoking becomes, the doctor told me to stop smoking. See? Easy. Now here's a quick tip that'll make your English sound so much more natural and sophisticated. You don't always have to use said or told. Let's expand your toolkit with some more descriptive, more powerful reporting verbs.
I mean, using a more precise verb can carry so much more meaning. Instead of just saying, "She said I should see a doctor," you could say, "She advised me to see a doctor." That one word, advised, tells us the whole intent behind her words. It wasn't just a statement, it was advice. This is a huge upgrade for your speaking. All right, it's time. Let's put all of our code-breaking skills to the test. We're going to assemble everything we've learned and tackle one final complex message together. You ready?
Okay, so look carefully at this sentence from Mark. It has everything. It's got a pronoun, a modal verb, a place word, a time word, and another modal verb. This is the perfect final challenge.
So just take a second. How would you report what Mark said? Think about our three keys: the tense shift, the pronoun shift, and the context shift. How do they all apply here?
And here it is. This is the solution. Let's just break it down real quick. I became he, will became would, this project became that project, here became there, tomorrow became the next day, and can became could. Every single rule we discussed applied perfectly. It's like a puzzle, and all the pieces just click right into place.
And honestly, this is why it all matters. This isn't just some grammar exercise you do to pass a test. Mastering this skill is about being able to share information and tell stories accurately and effectively. It's an absolutely core tool for clear communication.
You know, the only way to truly master reported speech is to actually use it. So, think about it. What's the most interesting conversation you've had recently? Try to report what was said using the rules we went over in this explainer. Practice really is everything. Thanks so much for joining us.